The logo of the National Federation of the Blind of Tennessee appears, with the tagline, Live the Life You Want.
So the 2020 convention of the National Federation of the Blind of Tennessee is now in session. Welcome everybody. So happy that you have joined us tonight for the opening general session of the National Federation of the Blind of Tennessee State Convention. It's been an unusual journey to get to this point, but we're so happy that you have joined us. Just a couple of housekeeping things first. A little Zoom tip. First of all, make sure that you are muted. You mute and unmute yourself with a *6. Will mute and unmute yourself. Also, if you win a door prize, you will need to unmute yourself to claim that door prize when that happens. Please make sure that during all the sessions that you are in fact muted. Also want to mention the door prizes. We have, I think, 17 door prizes that we'll be giving out during the different parts of the meeting. Most of them are $25 and $50. We have one that's worth $150. Then the grand prize is $250. So you will want to be here for that. We're not going to tell you when we're going to give away the grand prize. It may be as soon as our first speaker is completed. It may be first thing in the morning. It may be the last thing we do. We don't know. So just, you have to be on the call to be eligible for a door prize. And we've got some really good ones. Now, what we're going to do on the door prizes is that we are going to call out 3 names. And if we don't have a winner, then we are going to move on and carry that prize forward so that we're not spending all night trying to find people to win door prizes. So if you, Melissa, get ready. We are going to be giving away our first door prize now, so you can see how it works. The first door prize is a $25 Amazon gift certificate, e-gift certificate donated by the Nashville chapter. And Melissa, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Who is our winner?
The first winner is...
Second down.
Yes, sorry, everybody. I'm at a ball game, so apologize for the... Yes. The first winner is Andrew Thorsett.
Andrew Thorsett, are you here? It starts.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
I'm here.
Good. We got a winner. Thank you. Right out of the back. Good job. So, yeah, it's homecoming from Melissa's son at the football game. The first half, she's going to be at the football game. All right. So thank you, Melissa. So let's get moving into the agenda. And we first up, special treat for you from the Nashville chapter with a special song for us. Please welcome Jana Jackson. Jana, unmute and let's hear what you got to say.
Can you hear me?
We hear you.
Yay! Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for heroes prove in liberating strife, who more than self country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, may God thy gold refine, till all success be nobleness, and every gain divine, said till all success be nobleness, and every gain divine.
Thank you, Jana. Beautiful song, beautiful rendition. Really appreciate it. You did Nashville and did the affiliate proud. Thank you very much. Okay, we're moving on to our roll call of chapters. We're going to recognize the president of each chapter so that you could have a chance to introduce yourself and say something about your chapter. We're going to go west to east. So the presidents of the chapters, get ready so that you know you can unmute your phone or unmute on your computer. We're going to go west to east, as I said. Christina Cliff from Memphis, Tennessee.
Good evening, everybody from the great city along the mighty banks of the Mississippi River in Memphis. Glad to be at our first virtual 2020 convention. And although we love being together, it's a great way to include new people who might not have been able to join. Of course, Memphis is known for our great basketball teams and our football teams, our world-class barbecue. And as everybody else is doing, we are masking up to help everybody get back together. Thanks, and hope everybody has a good convention.
Thank you, Memphis. I'd love to get down there and have some of that barbecue, but maybe soon, maybe soon. Now moving to Clarksville, Betty Tucker, president of our Clarksville chapter.
Hi, everyone. I'm Betty Tucker from Clarksville, Tennessee. We have Nashville, all the singing, barbecue, all of the attractions and everything. Just come and see us.
Yes, when I talk. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Betty Tucker, who's the newly elected president there in chapter, by the way, and congratulations on that. And Betty also attended her first Washington seminar this year before the pandemic hit, and I got to know her there and had a great experience there with her. Okay, going on to Nashville, needs no introduction. Jimmy Bain, the president of the Nashville chapter.
Hey everyone, welcome to our convention. So glad to be here and so glad to be with all of you guys. The Nashville chapter, you think of Nashville, there's so much history. There's a lot of Federation history here. Our chapter has just continued to grow, and our spirit has just really reflected that spirit of love and unity. Nashville, and I would say Nashville and Memphis, we go back and forth with the biggest chapters in the state, but we're both growing, and so that's wonderful. So I'd like to do a shout out to all of our members, to our board that's here today, and appreciate the leadership that you guys show. And any that live in the Nashville area, we look forward to meeting you soon.
Thank you, Nashville. Now we're going to move to the southeast, to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and we have the president of the Chattanooga chapter, Byron Metter. Are you here, Byron?
Yeah.
Byron, are you here? I don't hear Chattanooga.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we got you. We hear you.
Sorry, I was muted. It's perfect timing, Terry. I just managed to slip in.
Okay.
Yes, I'm Byron Meter. I am the president of the Scenic City chapter in Chattanooga. This is my third year, I think, being president. Our chapter's had some ups and downs with membership. We are still hanging in there. Of course, COVID hadn't helped matters a whole lot, but we're doing mostly virtual meetings, and I'd say our membership's up this year from last year. I'm hoping to continues to grow next year, and hopefully we'll have some chances to do some fundraising that we had planned this year, but got called off because of COVID.
Okay, thank you, Chattanooga. And now moving up the road, up I-75 a few miles to Cleveland, Tennessee, in our Southeast chapter, Christy Odell. Are you here, Christy?
I am. Hi, everybody. My name's Christy Odell, and I'm president of the Cleveland Southeast chapter. And I just want to say thank you to my board and to all our members. And can't wait to be back in person with everyone after COVID's done.
Okay, thank you, Christy. And now we move up a little further up I-75 to Knoxville and Greg Self. Greg, are you here?
Can you hear me?
We hear you.
All right. I'm Greg Self, president of the volunteer chapter. We're based out of Knoxville, Maryville area. And all I can say is home with the Vols, the Goldmore, and we're going to beat Alabama.
I wish you were right about that. I'm not.
I do too.
Roll Tide.
Uh-oh, here we go. Okay.
Around the bowl and down it goes.
So thank you to our chapter presidents. You know, the chapters are the backbone of any affiliate. And, you know, we appreciate everything that the chapters do and what you guys as presidents do for the National Federation of the Blind of Tennessee. As I have said many times, the National Federation of the Blind is a grassroots organization, and it starts at the chapter level. And so you are the glue that holds the organization together nationally. So my hat's off to you guys. Craig McFarland, are you here?
I'm here.
Craig, would you please lead us in the NFB pledge?
All right. I'm sorry, I apologize for what happened. My computer imploded, but here we go. I pledge to participate actively in the efforts of a National Federation of the Blind to achieve equality, opportunity, and security for the blind, to support the policies and the programs of the Federation, and to abide by its Constitution. So help me God.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Craig. Good job. Good job. Craig is a member of our board, for the affiliate board, and is from Munford, Tennessee. And so we appreciate that, Craig. Next up is the presidential report, which is what I'll be talking a little bit about what's what's been going on with the affiliate and what some of the things coming up. This is the position of president is not a position that I aspired to hold, but it's one of those things that when you accept the position of first vice president, you know that there's always the possibility that if something happens and the president resigns, that you're going to have to step in and take over. And that's what happened in this case. It's one of those things that I didn't ask for, but it's one of those things that I am so honored to actually serve as an affiliate president with the National Federation of the Blind. I entered this role as the president with a great appreciation for the Federation. My ties to the Federation go back, 30 plus years. Although I was not active with the Federation, wasn't a dues paying member. In my previous job as the director of Tennessee Services for the Blind, I worked very, very closely with the Federation, and the Federation was sort of my safety net, and also where I got a lot of my strength from, because they would speak out on issues which I was able to use that and to help get things done inside the bureaucracy. So I entered this job, with an appreciation for what the National Federation of the Blind could mean. I also entered this job with the knowledge of just how important a role the National Federation of the Blind plays, both nationally and on the state level. It plays a very important role. And so, I came into this with that knowledge and appreciation. The other thing that when I came in, it made it sort of a natural fit was that I came in with the full understanding of the philosophy of the National Federation of the Blind, and what the Federation of the Blind really means, so I came into that, and I believe in the philosophy of the National Federation of the Blind. I believe that in independence for blind people. I believe that we can achieve our dreams. So so with that, I came in with the again the appreciation of the Federation, the knowledge of the Federation, and in line with the philosophy of the National Federation of the Blind. So that that made it an easy transition. One of the things that we have focused on is the unity, and I've got to say this board has been very, very supportive of me as I transitioned into this new role, and we've been able to accomplish some things, and I greatly appreciate the support of the board. Jimmy Bain, as our vice president, has really worked tirelessly on behalf of the affiliate. Melissa Smith is our treasurer, who has done yeoman's work with keeping our book straight. And then Steve Norman, our secretary, who is ever reliable and really a dedicated person who wants to see things improve for people who are blind in Tennessee. That's our executive committee. Our other board members, I appreciate them equally as much. Curtis Tillman, Craig McFarland, Sharon Treadway, Greg Self. Who am I leaving out? Deborah Carter. I'm leaving one out. Oh, I knew I shouldn't have started doing that. But James Brown. So I appreciate everything that they have done during the course of the last year to help us move the affiliate forward. As I said, we got here, and it was an unusual journey to get here. We were supposed to have our convention in April in Clarksville, Tennessee. We were looking so forward to it. We had an outstanding agenda planned for you for that convention. Clarksville was so excited about getting to host it. They had some special things lined up and planned. And we did not cancel that convention until the very last minute. I mean, we waited as long as we could. Looking back, we're wondering, well, why did we take so long to make that decision? At the time, it was new to us, and we didn't really know what to expect. We didn't know what was going to happen, and so we made the decision finally that we to cancel the meeting, and which got us to this point, doing our first convention virtually. These virtual conventions can be intimidating. I was skeptical when the National Federation of the Blind, the national office, said we were going to do our national conference, our national convention virtually. I got to admit, I was one of those that sort of shook my head, and to watch what the national office did in pulling off the national convention was nothing short of amazing. It was a great event. It had the convention feel to it, and just an outstanding experience. We're not going to sit here and pretend that meeting virtually replaces being in person and connecting human to human and sharing the camaraderie that we share when we come together. But this virtual convention gives us an opportunity to include people who would not normally get to come. So if you're out there and you're listening or watching this this convention, and this is your first experience with the National Federation of the Blind, then we we welcome you. We hope you will continue to be involved with us. We hope that you will, when the pandemic is over, that you will get involved. Well, you don't have to wait till the pandemic's over. You can get involved now with your local chapters. But then when the pandemic's over and we can start having more meetings in person, then that you will come out and you will be part of us. It really, truly is a great organization. You know, as I look back over this year, it's been an interesting year for sure. As I said, we started out, and I got to go to leadership training in Baltimore with all the other affiliate presidents. Now, I've been to Baltimore. I've been through the leadership training program, and it's fascinating. I'd never gone through it with all the other affiliate presidents. And it was a great experience because I found that I'm not alone in this for trying to find my way and feel my way through being president. There are a lot of people that are in that shape, but I also felt comforted in knowing that there's a lot of people out there to lean on for support. I also felt comforted in knowing the level of commitment that is out there to the organization in different states. And I was able to make connections and relationships there that I've been able to rely on since then. I would encourage you, if you have any interest at all in leadership, whether you're a chapter president, if you want to be on the state board, if you want to, whatever that might be, the National Federation of the Blind offers a leadership training program. And if you would like to have your name submitted to be considered for that, then I would certainly like to get your name thrown in the hat. You go to Baltimore, you're there for 3 days or so, and you have some great experiences in terms of talking and you do a lot of brainstorming. It's not necessarily a lot of training or somebody telling you something. It's more about you learning about what the what the Federation is and learning about leadership. And so it is a great experience. And you get to sit in a room and talk to Dr. Myra and talk to President Riccobono, talk to Pam Allen, the first vice president. So if anybody is interested, I would strongly encourage you to do that. We also got to have our Washington seminar in February, just before the pandemic hit. We had several people there, including some, I think we had 3 or 4 first timers there. And, it was a great event. We got to go spend a lot of time with our members, our representatives, and, getting to educate them about blindness. A lot of people believe that everything that happens, all of our successes with the National Federation of the Blind, the legislative successes that we've experienced in the past, a lot of people believe that that's coming from Baltimore. That look what Baltimore did. Look what our national office has accomplished. But in reality, as I said earlier, it's you guys. When we walk into a member of Congress's office and we talk, sit down, tell them our story, they get to know us. It makes a difference, and that's how the National Federation of the Blind accomplishes a lot of what it accomplishes. Also, before the pandemic hit, I was lucky enough to get out there and actually attend a meeting of every single chapter. And that's something that I wanted to continue to be able to do that and get out there and visit you guys and talk to you. The pandemic hit. But as soon as it's lifted, that's something else that I hope to do is get back out there and spend time with you. When COVID did hit, we did do some statewide calls. and we, to talk about different topics. The first one we talked about philosophy of blindness. We had Pam Allen, the first vice president and the executive director at the Louisiana Center, on to lead the discussion. And I was really pleased with the level of discussion that we had on those calls. There was a lot of exchange of ideas and people telling their stories, and I thought it was, those were very, very productive. We will be considering and looking at doing those, some more of those over the course of the next several months. We had our first chapter's president call this past week. We haven't been doing those. Again, something that we want to continue so that the chapters, feel the connection with the state board. One of the things that I was proud of, that just about the time that I took over as president, was the board came together and we created a strategic plan. So this organization has a strategic plan of what we want to do and how we want to get there. We use COVID as an excuse a lot of times, but over the next year, we need to, we're going to go back to that strategic plan, look at it, and sort of see where are the areas that we need to pick up the ball and run with, and see what we can do to fully implement that plan. But I honestly believe that any organization has to have a plan if it wants to get where it's going, to where it wants to be. And so, we've got that plan. It's a roadmap for the future, and it's an ambitious plan. And so we're going to be looking at that so we can really move the affiliate forward. Obviously, one of our goals is always to build the federation, and we do that through building membership. I challenge each one of you to help us do that, to do your role, to bring somebody to one of the chapter meetings or on one of your chapter calls, because there's strength in numbers. We're 30,000, 50,000 strong, but we need to be 60 or 70,000 strong. So there's power in numbers, and we need to get as many people as we can involved in the National Federation of the Blind, but not only for what they can do for the Federation, but what it means to them to be part of something and to see what it really means to be independent, to be self-advocates, and to be able to live the dream that they want to live. We did, before I took over, we did have some issues with, we lost a chapter in Murfreesboro, the Stones River chapter, which at one time was one of our thriving chapters. And so, we lost that chapter. Our student division has run into some issues and isn't functioning at all at this point. So, those are going to be two priorities, as we move forward, is that, how we beef Murfreesboro back up and how we get our students going. Also, talking about the need to get parents involved. Later on, you're going to hear from Cassidy McKinley, who is from Tennessee. She left Tennessee and went to New Hampshire and was an affiliate president up there. Now she's back in Tennessee, and some of the things that she wants to get involved with the affiliate and wants to help with membership and getting our large chapter going again with Josh, and looking at what we can do as far as getting parents more involved. So that's one of the things that we're going to be doing as it comes up. I have not talked with Roxanne Chamberlain since her call this afternoon. But Roxanne Chamberlain in Nashville had a meeting today, and they are trying to establish the seniors division, something we've never had in Tennessee, at least not in my memory that we've had it. I'm sure we did at one point. But that's going to be another opportunity to get more and more people involved in the National Federation of the Blind. Couple of things I want to mention as far as that are coming up in the future. I don't want to steal our national speaker's thunder, but I've already sent information out to all of you. You are already aware that the Washington seminar in February is going to be a virtual seminar. Okay, so it will not be our traditional trip to Washington where we go down on the hill and we set up meetings and we get to talk to our members of Congress. It's going to be a little different this year. Congress isn't accepting in-person meetings now anyway, so if we went up there, it wouldn't do any good. So we're going to do a virtual Washington seminar. And what that means is that we're going to be setting up Zoom calls with members of staff of the Congress and the congressperson themselves if they're available. The advantages they're going to give us is that a lot of times when we go to Washington, we don't really have somebody, a constituent from the congressman's district. So like when we go to Congressman Rowe's office, if we did not have anybody from the Johnson City area, it has less impact on the congressman because we're not voting for it. So we're going to try to find 3 to 5 people from each congressman's district that can participate on a Zoom call with that staff. We'll have the same 3 issues. We'll have 3 issues, just like we've always had. We'll have fact sheets that we can provide them, but we will have an opportunity to set up a call for 3 to 5 of their constituents to sit down and talk to their members of Congress. The Senate, everybody in the state is a constituent of the 2 senators. So those meetings will be much larger. Matter of fact, we would like to have 50 or 60 people on those calls. And now most of those will still have 3 to 4 people speaking. Everybody else will just be there observing and watching. But we want to impress the senator's office with the numbers. Because if they say, wow, this is a call with 60 blind people on there, it's going to carry a lot more weight than if it's just me or somebody else. James Brown is our legislative chair. He will be working to coordinate these Zoom calls. We want to involve the chapter presidents in that process because you guys are going to be key in not only setting up the meetings, but for participating in those meetings. So you will be hearing from James about that. The last thing I want to tell you about what's on the horizon is the board yesterday voted to do a series of Live the Life You Want, Educate and Empower seminars. This is an idea that was proposed by Steve Norman. Steve is, as I said, he is the secretary of the board. He's also the president of the TAGDU division. And, he went to the Colorado Center for the Blind. And so Steve knows what it means to have a positive philosophy of blindness. And so we are going to be, be on the lookout for an email announcing these seminars. It'll be 1 night a week. You'll hear that we will be doing on philosophy. We will be doing on kitchen skills. We'll be doing on technology, possibly even do one on Braille. But we're really excited about that. We're really happy and proud that Steve has taken this on, and he's taken it on because he believes in what blind people can be, and that instilling a positive philosophy of blindness is absolutely critical. So be on the lookout for that announcement coming your way soon. We'll make sure you have plenty of time so that you can go online and register and participate in those seminars. So that concludes the my presidential report. I again am honored to be your president, and I do not take the responsibilities lightly. I've got to admit that I do, for those of you who don't know that much about me, I do work full-time in the Randolph-Shepherd arena. I actually work with the National Association of Blind Merchants, which is a division of the National Federation of the Blind, working and doing training and technical assistance in the Randolph-Shepherd arena. Nikki Gakos is the president of that organization, and Kevin Worley, who is our national speaker, is a former president of that organization and former executive director of that organization. And he was in that role when I first started working with the National Association of Blind Merchants. So I've got that full-time gig already going, but I'm still committed to making this work and can do that with the ongoing support that I've been getting from the board. So with that, that concludes the presidential report. And so we're going to move on the agenda. And so first up is our friends from rehab. We've got to have a update from vocational rehabilitation. We got Mandy Johnson, who's the assistant commissioner, and we have Tiffany Kelly, who's the director of Century Services, who are going to be talking to us. Well, we asked them to come prepared to speak specifically, to give us specifically information. They're not limited to this, of course, but we specifically want to hear about what's been going on at the Tennessee Rehabilitation Center in Smyrna. There have been a lot of changes there, and how that impacts our blind students. And also to talk to us about the pre-employment training services that they are required to provide, and what they're doing in the arena of pre-ETS for blind persons. So Mandy and Tiffany, if you can unmute yourself. I don't know if you're on the phone, if you are at *6, or you've done enough of these Zoom calls. I'm sure you know more about it than I do. So if you could, I'll turn it over to you guys. Welcome.
Thank you, Terry. This is Mandy. Can you hear me okay?
Hear you fine. Thank you.
Yep. Wonderful. Well, again, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you all tonight. I do have Tiffany Kelly with me, and I know we just have a short time together, but we did want to provide you with some quick updates on some of the exciting transformations that are occurring within the Department of Human Services and the Division of Rehabilitation Services. I'll start by just giving some quick updates about the department and at the division level, and then I'll turn it over to Tiffany, who will highlight some of the specifics within blind services and the two areas that you mentioned, specifically TRC Smyrna and our pre-employment transition services. So we have a ton of transformation initiatives going on within the Department of Human Services. And really that is focused and centered around improving the customer experience. And really what we're focused on and what the department's mission is to build strong families by connecting Tennesseans to employment, education, and support services. And so, like I said, that our vision around that is revolutionizing the customer experience. We want to be innovative, and we want to provide a seamless network of support services. And so within the Division of Rehab Services, we have focused over the last year and have incorporated into our strategic plan 5 key priorities that focus around first, communication. We want to make sure that we're fostering trust and credibility and communicating well both inside and outside of the organization. We also want to focus on our staff and making sure that we have a professional workforce that is organized and structured to deliver the highest quality vocational rehabilitation services and supports across the state. The third priority that we're focused on is modernizing our systems and processes. We have quite a few, I'm sure you know, outdated systems within the state. And so we are working really hard to update those systems, to modernize them so that they are top of the line and they are operating efficiently and allowing us to serve our customers most effectively. The fourth area that we're really focused on is that service delivery piece. Again, the way that we engage with customers and the individuals that we serve, we want to make sure that those are innovative and creative, and that they are achieving the employment goals that we have for the individuals that we are supporting. And then lastly, we want to use our data, use the information that we have to make sure that we're making smart decisions and that we are supporting programs and initiatives that lead to those employment outcomes. So those have been our strategic priorities over the last year and are really the bedrock of our 4-year strategic plan that we submitted to the governor. And over the last year, we have been working on implementing a new case management system. I'm excited to report that as of today, we are 68% complete with that implementation process, and we are on schedule to go live with that new system in May of 2021. We've been working on reviewing our policies and procedures and making sure that they are more user-friendly and that they're customer and person-centered, and that they empower our staff to find innovative and creative solutions. We've actually just completed the first phase of a 3-phase training program for our staff statewide that is focused on person-centered thinking and really grounded in the philosophy that everyone can work. Our community TRCs are also implementing new community-based training throughout the 17 locations that we have across the state. And we've also initiated some new projects to look at our current staffing, including the classification of some of our key positions and the salary for those positions, and looking at methodologies for how we can manage our customer caseloads and make sure that we can serve everyone who needs our services across the state. And there's a much longer list, and I know that those, I don't want to, tie up too much of our call talking about that, but I did just want to share some of the very important initiatives that we've been working on throughout the year to improve the division. And honestly, you can't talk about 2020 and what we've been doing without talking about our response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And very quickly, our staff across the state transitioned from being office-based to being able to work remotely. And now we have almost 100% of our VR staff working remotely. In addition, we've increased our flexibilities around service delivery to make sure that we can allow for opportunities like this, web-based online opportunities to provide services, telephonic services, and other alternative methods. We've also had to increase our policies around, or increase our flexibilities, if you will, around things like obtaining signatures on documents and all of those things. Some of the changes that we've had to make in response to COVID-19 had to do with what Tiffany will share more about here in a minute, is some of the changes that we've had to make with our larger classes and service delivery at TRC Smyrna. So obviously back in March, with the onset of the pandemic and the governor's guidance regarding large gatherings in schools, we did have to dismiss students back in March from TRC Smyrna. And we also had to suspend our larger group classes and training opportunities at the community rehabilitation centers across the state. We have, though, quickly transitioned to being able to provide those services through various methods, just like the ones I mentioned earlier. Many of our staff are providing services over the phone, online, using technologies like FaceTime and other video conferencing. And really, I just can't say enough about our staff and how creative they have been to ensure that we are continuing to serve customers during this time. Our guidance and our priority, while adjusting to the realities of COVID-19, has been to be sensitive to our customers and their comfort level. And so really that's what drives the decision about how services are delivered and when and where. Individuals who aren't comfortable getting out in the community, we're providing those services in ways that they're comfortable with. And Tiffany could share lots of stories about porch drop-offs of equipment where we've dropped off equipment on the porch and given folks instructions through a glass door, or video calls and other opportunities that we've used to help continue connecting with customers in the way that they are most comfortable given the current situation with COVID-19. And again, the staff have just been really amazing and so creative in the ways that they've been able to connect. One part of the COVID-19 situation that I did want to share is how that's impacting state budgets and hiring. We've been very fortunate within the vocational rehabilitation program. All of the state departments were asked to submit 12% budget reductions. And we were able actually to, for the VR program, we were able to avoid the majority of those reductions and only saw a reduction in vacant positions. So positions that we currently did not have filled, we did lose a few of those, but we did not lose any funding in terms of dollars for services. And in fact, we were able to get an increase to some of our service dollars. The state is currently in a hiring freeze, but we are allowed to ask for exceptions. And we have been successful in getting some of those exceptions. And in fact, Tiffany and her team are in the process of posting some new counselor positions as we speak. So we're excited about that opportunity. So those are just some high level updates about what's going on at the department. And with that, I'll turn it over to Tiffany to share some of the specifics within Blind Services and TRC Smyrna and Priettes.
Thank you, Mandy. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I do want to kind of add a little plug here for what Mandy said. So we do have some positions we're going to be able to post, and I actually got word today we will be posting, I believe, November 4th for 3 blind services positions. So if anyone's on the call, but yes, we will be sharing the information. I'll make sure to get that out to Terry, and I know I've corresponded with Jimmy Bain as well, so I will get that information out. And Christina, I see your name on the call as well, so I will get information out to you all on those positions. So just a little bit, blind services, I was able to join the call and listen to Terry a little bit. And so my position, I am, like Mandy said, the sensory director. And so I basically oversee the blind, visually impaired, deaf, hard of hearing, and deaf-blind services under the vocational rehabilitation program. And so that encompasses a wide array of programs, as you can imagine, and Terry is very familiar with those programs. But, the Department of Human Services, Division of Rehabilitation, we do offer several programs to assist individuals who are blind or visually impaired. Vocational rehabilitation, obviously, is one of them, and that program assists individuals to help eligible adults who are blind or visually impaired to successfully compete with others in entering, returning, or retaining employment. We do have specially trained VR counselors to work with clients who are blind or visually impaired. Like I mentioned, we'll be posting positions soon. Another program is our independent living program. Independent living program has an array of services for individuals of all ages who are blind or have a severe visual impairment to enable them to live as independently as possible in their homes and communities. So with some of what Mandy said, just that service delivery during the pandemic, we've really thought outside the box on what we can do, and just the creativity from staff has been really impressive, and just making sure customers are seen, but also that they're being safe when visiting customers and providing that array of services that we serve. So again, I did mention we serve all ages, but we also have an array of services to older individuals, 55 and older, who are blind or visually impaired. So there, we do have a special kind of service area where we would serve individuals who are 55 and older. I did want to share some of the data from this past year. So the Independent Living Program this past year completed 847 applications and 856 successful individuals successfully served under the Independent Living Program. So I just thought that was wonderful, and I just had to share it. I was so excited for the Independent Living Program to be able to provide those services, even through all of the barriers that we've faced over the last several months. Another thing I wanted to share, which you're probably aware of, but the Newsline, the NFB Newsline. We actually we have continued the partnership with National Federation of the Blind to bring the NFB Newsline to Tennessee. So this actually this service is free, as you all may know, and it offers over 300 publications. So we're very excited to be able to provide that to our customers. And so what we do with the various programs that I've mentioned so far is we help those customers who are identified in getting connected with the Newsline and getting those services. So I think that is a great partnership. And then wanted to touch on a little bit about Tennessee Rehabilitation Center in Smyrna. So we did launch the Career and Technical Model, and that was July of 2019. This model operates more like a community college, and so it includes a greater focus on work-based learning and community integration. As you all may know, Tennessee Rehabilitation Center in Smyrna is a state-operated training center that does provide, like I said, that career and technical education to prepare individuals with disabilities for greater independence and competitive integrated employment in their local communities. So instead of this new model, what you all may have thought of before with TRC Smyrna, the model has changed, like I mentioned, to more of a community college to be more streamlined, if you will, for services and getting those necessary courses to be successful. And so instead of programs such as the TBI program or like VIS, we had VIS, the center now offers areas of study. The areas of study lead to an industry-recognized credential. And so these specific areas of study, students are able to take electives and other foundational courses to address their specific educational and employment needs. And so just to give an example of what that foundations course may be, it is based on instructor feedback, but that could include Braille training or orientation mobility or computer skills. The great thing is they get these foundation skills, and then they can also be learning other skills in conjunction with that. So whereas before it was more you take one piece of it before you can go on to the next, now you can kind of do it all interchangeably. So it's definitely helping our individuals to excel much quicker than before. So since transitioning to the new model, we have actually seen an increase in enrollment overall and an increase in blind and visually impaired students attending TRC Smyrna and having successful outcomes. So as a result, like we mentioned with the pandemic, TRC Smyrna did have to accelerate the launch of their distance learning platform in July. We talked about that a little bit. I think Terry touched on it before we started talking, and Mandy touched on it as well. But we had to make changes quickly, right? Everyone had to do that. So just like everyone else, TRC Smyrna had to transform the same way. And so what really happened there is just an accelerated launch of the program that they were already implementing anyways. So this was offered first as an option to students whose studies were interrupted by the early dismissal in March, and then students were given the option to continue their studies from home. One of the things I want to brag on our blind services staff is when that time came and equipment was needed in the home to help the student be successful, they moved mountains to get that equipment out to the customers as soon as possible, so that they did not have any delays in their service, in their training. So I was very excited. Just the collaboration that took place and working together was really great to see that going on, and for the success of the student. So once it was determined that students will not be able to return to campus for the fall quarter, we had that distance learning option, and it was extended to students who had applied and been accepted but had not yet initialized their studies at TRC Smyrna. So participation in distance learning was the student's choice. And, you know, I had mentioned about the transformation piece of it, and part of transformation is being flexible, right? So there's a learning curve with everything. I think we've all experienced it over the last few months. But we had to persevere, and one of the things that we learned from this is feedback. Feedback is welcomed at any point. And so one thing TRC Smyrna has continued to do is request feedback from students, from staff, just how they can improve on what they have launched so far. And that has really turned out to be a great piece of that transition, because they're learning as they go and they're transforming together. So just to kind of give you a number of how we are impacted for blind and visually impaired students, we currently have 21 students who are blind and visually impaired enrolled and participating at TRC Smyrna. And as I mentioned, that actually is more than ever before. So very exciting, again, for this opportunity. And then I'm going to move on to our pre-employment transition services. So we do have specialized counselors. Let me back up. Specialized staff. They are called our pre-employment transition specialists. I don't want to get that confused. They are not counselors. They are specialists. My bad. But pre-employment transition services is under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act, WIOA, and that states states are required to set aside a minimum of 15% of their federal award to provide those pre-ETS services to students with disabilities. So as you can imagine, everyone had to, that 15% came from all of VR, including blind services. So we all, not 15% from every area, let me be clear, 15% overall. So there are 5 services that are required for pre-employment transition as described under WIOA. And so that 15% goes toward these 5 services. So we have job exploration, counseling, work-based learning experiences, post-secondary counseling, workplace readiness, and self-advocacy. So partnering with local education agencies, the VR program, through the pre-employment transition specialist, like I mentioned, coordinates the delivery of these services to students within the school systems through different approaches. We have 1 or 2 approaches that we use. We have transition school to work grants with local schools. There's 56 sites currently for that approach. And then we have the community rehabilitation provider contracts, and we have 28 of those. The transition school to work, we are thrilled to be able to share that Tennessee School for the Blind has one of those contracts. So we're very excited to be able to have that in the School for the Blind and specifically serve those students. So coming very soon, I'm excited to announce we do have the workings of a project search site for individuals who are blind or visually impaired. And that is a result of a partnership from TennCare, Metro Schools, and Tennessee School for the Blind. They've come together to implement the project search. And currently it's in the planning phases and is scheduled to implement in the fall of 2021. So we're very excited about that partnership and how we can serve even more students who are blind or visually impaired that way. So the department is currently exploring the opportunity to incorporate specialized pre-ed services for students who are blind or visually impaired. The transition director, along with myself, participated in multiple presentations from providers who are interested in serving our students who are blind or visually impaired with those 5 services that I mentioned. In addition to being able to participate in the traditional pre-ed services, these services will be customized to meet the needs of our students who are blind or visually impaired. So one of those partnerships, one of those potential opportunities is I was pleased to have Terry introduce me to NFB, and they have a mentor program that we were looking at. So more to come on that, so just hang tight. Hopefully we'll have more information to share soon. But those are kind of my updates related to blind services. Again, I'm happy to answer questions. I think Mandy's still on the call, so we can answer questions if there's any questions at this time, or if you would like to learn more, I'm always available. Again, I do oversee, I mentioned blind services, which encompasses TBE, the Business Enterprise Program for Tennessee. I mentioned Independent Living Program, the VR blind services serving individuals interested in employment, and then I also oversee a council. Well, I don't oversee the council. I work in partnership with the council, so just want to be clear about that too. But those are kind of the things that I oversee across the state. And again, I recognize some names on here, so I'm happy to work with you all and partner with you all to make sure we are serving our Tennesseans who are blind or visually impaired to the best of our ability. So at this time, yeah.
So, and I appreciate, I'd say Mandy and Tiffany. I appreciate you, Tiffany, for, you're always available to me. She never knows which hat I'm wearing when I call her, though. Are you calling a Shepherd hat? Are you calling your NFB hat? Are you calling as a former director? So, but it works out fine. I was told I did not have my camera on, and so I've turned it on. And those of you can see, you see my beautiful saltwater aquarium sitting behind me. That was my retirement present when I left the state. They gave me a money tree, and I went and sunk all of it into a saltwater aquarium because I always wanted one. And so it's been sitting there. That's my retirement present. So does anybody have, maybe for like one question, if you have a question, you want to star 9 or raise your hand, or you want to open it, let them mute?
Sherry Thorsett.
Okay, Sherry, go ahead.
I just wondered what the ratio of employees that are employed by blind services are sighted versus blind.
That is this is Tiffany.
Hi, Tiffany.
That is a very good question, and I appreciate your question. I'm thinking quickly across the state as I run through my staffing list. We have had some turnover, so let me start there. We've had some turnover recently. Currently, for our blind services staff, and are you speaking specifically VR? I'm thinking specifically VR counselors, but I'm also thinking our independent living team as well and TBE. I'm not exactly sure on the ratio. I would say that it's probably more sighted than blind or visually impaired. Just thinking quickly across the state, like I mentioned.
Yeah, I was just curious, like direct service. So the independent living folks who go out, rehab teachers, and then counselors, etc. The direct service folks.
Yeah. Let me let me check on that for you and get an actual number. I don't want to guess. Okay. So let me get that, and I can send that to Terry.
Yeah,
perfect. And as I mentioned,
That'd be good.
As I mentioned, I have 3 positions coming up. So if you know anyone, we'll get those out to you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. One last question, if anybody has one. Okay, hearing none. Mandy, Tiffany, thank you for being with us on a Friday evening like this. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And Tiffany, I'm glad to hear that the mentoring program is still alive and still an option. And look forward to hopefully seeing that come to fruition. Thank you guys, and we're going to move on. And we're going to do a quick door prize. Melissa, are you somewhere where you can do a door prize, or are they about to score the winning touchdown?
Well, no, but we're fixing to score, but that's okay. The next door prize will be,
I got to tell you, $25 cash donated by the Clarksville chapter. Who's the winner?
Okay, next winner is John Spencer.
John Spencer. He's on here. I saw his name.
And on number 22, Dakota Jones, for a gain of a couple on the play, brought down. That will be 3rd and 4.
So, we're going to move on to our next speaker. And,
Harry, I'm here.
I told you earlier that Cassie McKinney is from Tennessee. She is Sharon Treadway's daughter, and she moved to New Hampshire for a career move, and I'll let her tell you what her career is. And she has since relocated to be back close to family, was able to get a job here. She's in the Jackson area now. I wanted her to come back and sort of talk to us as somebody from Tennessee that has gone away, been an affiliate president, has now come home, so to speak. And she's going to take about 10 minutes to talk to you. And so, Cassie, I trust you're here. Welcome back to Tennessee.
Thank you, Terry. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you fine.
All right. Well, it's so wonderful to be with all of you tonight. I know that we'd love to all be together in one ballroom and feel the energy and excitement of the convention, but we have something to look forward to. And as you were talking about planning for a year ahead and developing new programs, that is always the purpose of the National Federation of the Blind, to build this organization that we all care so much about. So I thought I might take just a brief moment to kind of do an introduction that is an introduction to some, and to others it's just hello again. I am Cassie McKinney. Some people know me as Cassandra McNabb McKinney, but people who are close, family and friends, call me Cassie. I was a Tennessean for the first 20 years of my life, and lived here in this state. I have a very strong attachment to the people here in this affiliate, and I did move away to New Hampshire to pursue my career. For those of you who do not know what I do for a living, I used to tease and say that I worked in eternal affairs, but really I am a licensed funeral director and embalmer, and so I do that each and every day. I help people who have a loss in their family. I since leaving this state, I did get married. So my husband Jamie and I are very happy to be members of the Tennessee affiliate. We have been a team supporting the Federation since the beginning of our marriage, and so we're very excited to be involved and to help in building this affiliate. We do have 2 little boys. So Sharon Treadway is Nana, which she's very proud of. And so we have a little boy named Robert, who's almost 5. And we have a little boy named Timothy, who's 2.5. And so our family is full of energy, and we are so excited to be a part of what is happening in this state. As Terry mentioned earlier, it is our hope that we will be able to connect with parents across the state, that we might be able to develop a division for parents of blind children, so that parents will know that there are resources out there to help their children to know about these services that rehabilitation office offers. And so that is one of our goals. Another is to work on building the at-large chapter to be able to reach people who live in some of the rural areas of our state who are not able to attend chapter meetings. And so to give them an opportunity to still be a part of this movement and this work that we do. So it truly is a family effort. And that is probably the keystone of being a leader in this organization. And that is having support from your family and your friends and being able to go out and share with others. We all have friends who are blind who are not members of this organization. And so it's very important that we encourage them to say, hey, we're having a chapter meeting and this is what we talk about. So why don't you come? It's a really good time. And so I was the president in the affiliate in New Hampshire for 10 years. That seems like a really long time. But we were able to build and to actually see change happen. And so I bring that momentum and that energy to this affiliate and hope that the work that we're able to help do will truly make a difference. One of the things that I have been privileged and able to do over the past decade is to share my story. And I started out with the goal that if telling your life story only touches one person, then you have truly changed the world. And so I hope that in the years and months and years to come, that I'll be able to share with many of you that story. And I hope that us being here and being a part of this affiliate will help in its moving forward. So thank you, Terry.
Yeah, thank you, Cassie. I wanted everybody to get to meet her. We are excited to have her back home in Tennessee. It's exciting to have a former affiliate president that we can rely on and we can ask, well, how did you do this up there? So that's going to be, we plan on putting her to work and happy she's here. And there could be another affiliate president moving to Tennessee. Last year at our convention, Joe Ruffalo in New Jersey said that he was moving to Tennessee. He was the national rep. And so I think that is probably, I think COVID may have slowed that down just a little bit, but before too long, we may have two former state presidents amongst our midst here. So that's great. Moving on to the next agenda item. You've heard parents mention 2 or 3 times tonight. And so we are fortunate that we have the president of the National Organization of Parents of Blind Children, which is a division of the National Federation of the Blind. And that organization does a lot of work, does a lot with parents. And we're very happy to have the president, Carlton Walker, with us here tonight. Carlton, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Terry. Good evening. Okay. Hey, I'm a North Carolina girl. I love a good fight song as well as anyone. Go Wolfpack. Good evening, and I thank the National Federation of the Blind of Tennessee and your president, Terry Smith, for inviting me to speak with you today. I'm honored to have the opportunity to speak with you about building the Federation, one family at a time. As president of the National Organization of Parents of Blind Children, NFBTN, a very proud division of the National Federation of the Blind, I'm eager to share with you all that the NFBTN, with support from the Federation, has to offer, and how the Tennessee affiliate can build the Federation through bringing blind students, their families, and their educators into our Federation family. First, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Carlton Ann Cook Walker, and I'm the mother of a blind 19-year-old, Anna Catherine. In addition to serving as president of the NFBTN, I'm a certified teacher of students with blindness, low vision, and I'm an attorney with my own solo law practice and an advocacy firm, Blindness Education and Advocacy Resources, BEAR. As you might guess, that name came from the fact that I am a mama bear. Of all my roles, parent is most important, and it will always be so. However, after faith and family, the most important facet of my life is the Federation, the National Federation of the Blind. For without the NFB and its parents division, the NFBTN, I would not have had the information I needed to be an effective parent for Anna Catherine in early childhood, through the school years, and now as a young adult. Indeed, I shudder to think of where my child and our family would be now without the education from and support of my fellow Federationists, those who I met through the Parents Division and, of course, blind adults throughout the country. My Federation family has taught me how to provide my blind child the tools and skills needed to become the successful blind adult Anna Catherine has the right to be. My 15 years in both the NFBTN and the NFB have been transformative for me, my blind child, and our entire family. While we still struggle with accessibility issues and with societal misconceptions and low expectations, we now know what is possible. We know that blindness itself need not pose an obstacle to achievement in school, in employment, or in life. And knowing is half the battle. The other half is the camaraderie and support we provide one another in the Federation. Please know that a Parents Division can be a powerful tool for any affiliate in building the Federation, both now and in the future. The earlier families and educators hear from us that blindness is not the characteristic that needs to define any blind individual or that person's future, the earlier that blind child will receive the environment, tools, and services needed for success. The earlier we bring these folks into the Federation, the earlier we can raise the expectations of blind people, because we know that low expectations create obstacles between blind people and our dreams. The earlier we make blind children, their families, and their educators part of our Federation family, the sooner that blind child will hear and believe this truth. You can live the life you want. Blindness is not what holds you back. Please know that we in the NFBTN stand ready, able, and eager to help you build the Federation in Tennessee. As an initial matter, please note that involvement and membership in the NFBTN is open to everyone. We welcome blind students and their families, but we also welcome their educators and their neighbors. We certainly welcome blind adults and blind students. You are the real experts in blindness, and our children, families, and educators can learn so very much from you. Just as membership in the NFBTN is open to all, so is leadership. We have many blind adults with sighted children and blind adults without children serve as leaders at all levels in state parents of blind children groups. In other words, even if the parents of blind children haven't yet come, you can build the organization and invite them in. But how? That's the real trick. Well, NFBTN offers connections. As you're trying to rebuild your state division or strengthen it, because our groups can never be too strong, we will help support your affiliate in this endeavor. We can help you with seminars, Saturday seminars, coffee talks, anything you like. And just a little peek in, the 3 top topics that typically draw in parents are topics I know you have great affiliate members who can serve as leaders in. 1, IEPs, individualized education plans, the contract with the school. Parents want and need information advocacy, and you have that talent in your affiliate. Technology. So many parents know that there are tools out there, but they don't know what is really there, what those tools can do, or how to obtain them. Your affiliate has so much rich knowledge to share. And the 3rd top topic for parents is recreation, particularly sports. And like I said, I'm a North Carolina girl, and I know folks in Tennessee like y'all like your sports just like we do. And we can talk, and not just sports, although sports are fabulous, but also accessible games, recreational activities like hiking, fishing, all of these great things. This is what brings people together, whether they're blind or sighted. NFBTN also offers, we had a very large conference at the NFB annual convention this July, and we will have recordings on our website for that soon. We participate in Washington seminar, and again on our website, we will have those conference resources, but we also have a lot of topic-specific resources that your affiliate and can use to maybe draw people in, and also to help you be able to talk to parents and see where, and help them know where they are, help know the parent side. And we have a lot of great IEP advocacy resources there. We have a Facebook group. Now, Carlton, why are you talking about a Facebook group? Well, frankly, a lot of parents don't know blind people in real life. I didn't. My blind child was the first blind person I'd ever met and was the only blind person I knew for quite a while. Facebook is, especially during times of COVID, a really safe way to communicate, to find people. Join our Facebook group. We have parents from Tennessee who don't know what to do, who don't know what to ask. And we have other blind adults and blind students on our group that help guide parents to show them, hey, you know what? If your child is having trouble going down the hallway, maybe you don't need a whole bunch of lights. Maybe a long white cane would be a good idea. Hearing from the real experts in blindness is so vital. We also have for those of you who want to connect but are not such the fan of Facebook, we have a blind kid listserv, which is part of our NFB Net listserv, and another great way to connect with families, another great way to share out information. And please know that on our Facebook page and our listserv, we do not allow any fundraisers except for NFB fundraisers. So if you have a fundraiser, if you have an activity, please post it. We will love to share that with families. And you'll probably find families that you didn't know were in Tennessee, and that's good. And when you're trying to connect with families, please don't forget all that the Federation provides. Remember, what matters to you is going to matter to the students also. Our free white cane program, what an amazing tool, what an amazing gift we are offering. Let families know that, yeah, maybe your child doesn't have a cane at all. Maybe your child has a different kind of cane. You can try this kind of cane. We can order it for you for free, and we have an affiliate member who can help your child learn to use it. I will tell you, there is something amazing about a blind adult teaching a blind child. My Anna Catherine could not stand being near an escalator. My husband had tried. I tried. The O&M teacher was kind of not particularly talented, shall we say. So that trying didn't make much difference. For really a couple of years, could not get Anna Catherine near an escalator. Harriet Go, a wonderful chapter member of our affiliate here in Pennsylvania, 5 minutes, she had Anna going up and down, well, up the elevator. It was in Dallas. The escalator only went up. So she went up the escalator, they went down the elevator, up and down. In 5 minutes, she helped remove Anna's fear of that escalator. You can't imagine the power you have to change lives. Other NFB resources, we have the American Action Fund has a free books program. We have sharebraille.org where you can order books online, absolutely free of charge, shipped to you free. Future Reflections magazine is a quarterly publication geared toward parents and educators. Please share this with folks and let people know that they can access this. Our International Braille and Technology Center, an amazing resource for you and for parents and students and educators about what are the kind of the pluses and minuses of technology. And never forget NFB Newsline, a free audio news service. What an amazing way to get information to our blind children, accessible and independent. We also have age-specific resources. We have an early childhood initiative geared toward children birth to 7. And next month, our Letters to Santa applications are open. So if we have a young child who wants to get a brailled, yes, letter from Santa, don't forget that. And of course, NFB Bell Academy. Tennessee has run many wonderful NFB Bell Academies. And of course, this summer we couldn't do NFB Bell Academy in person. But what did we do? Did we throw up our hands? Oh, no, no, no. With help of volunteers and our national office sent a large box, a bell box to every child who was enrolled in NFB Bell Academy. 2 weeks of instruction and a box that contained every single item that child would need to participate in all the bell lessons. We had videos so the children could practice ahead of time so that they could really feel confident during their bell lesson. It was truly amazing. And we also included literally hundreds of Braille index cards, flashcards that these kids are going to be using all year long. We make a difference. We do it together. And there's nothing that can stop us. oh gosh, I have 2 minutes left. So if there are any questions or anything, I would love to hear from y'all. And I'd love to hear from you anytime at all. I'm going to put in the chat, my email address. It is, I'll put my name first, Carlton Walker. I don't need all the middle names. NOPBCPRES as in prez @gmail.com. So please contact me anytime. Contact me on, I am on Twitter. You're welcome to contact me on Twitter. I'm not as active as I could be. Contact me via Facebook. Give me a call. It's anyway, I'd love to hear from you.
Thank you, Carlton.
Thank you.
I'm trying to remember, are you in Pennsylvania? Where?
I am, yes. I am a North Carolina girl, but when I met my husband, he's a little old fashioned and he was a farmer and he thought we should live together. So I had to move up.
I was just trying to remember. I was thinking you were in Pennsylvania. So
yes, sir, I am.
We really appreciate you joining us tonight. Very informative. And as you heard, we want to start pushing our parents again. And so we will be calling on you. We will need your help.
Excited for it. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to do, Melissa, are you Are you out there? We're going to do our third door prize. Are you there, Melissa?
I am here. I am here.
We are going to do a $25 Visa gift card donated by Thorset Vending.
All right. Next one is Haley Blankenship.
Woo!
Haley here?
Is Haley on here?
And let us know you're here.
Haley Blankenship.
Going once.
Unmute.
Going twice. Okay, another name.
Another name.
And they deep kick on number 26, Brayden Hayes.
Next one is Andrew, and the last name is, I'm not going to even, Aaron's, A-H-R-E-N-S.
Aaron's, are you here? Andrew. Going once, going twice. Last try, third time here. Give us a name.
Another name. Elijah Conway.
Elijah Conway.
Come on, Elijah.
No, I don't see him on here.
Okay, another name.
Down by Moose DeVal, led by number 19.
Move on. Okay, thanks, Melissa.
Okay.
Our next speaker, a couple of things I want to say. First of all, I want to thank our friends from Deaf Connect for interpreting here for our deaf and hard of hearing participants. So we appreciate that they are part of this convention. Also, I got to tell on myself. I said earlier, I'm sure we had a sync at some point. I got a text reminded me that when I was the director, we gave NFB a grant when they created a seniors division, and we did a seminar for seniors before the convention that year, which I had forgotten about because I'm old and but that's when Kim Williams was the president of the affiliate. So you had to remind me that how forgetful I am. But so next up is Kevin Worley. We are so excited to have Kevin here. He's our national rep. And I got to introduce him once already today at the meeting. He got to speak with them. He got to speak with the merchants. So this is his third time getting to speak to this group. Kevin and I go way back.
We go way back.
For many, many years. Through my involvement when I was the state director, and I was involved with the National Council of State Agencies for the Blind. I chaired the Randolph Shepherd Committee. At the time, Kevin was president of the National Association of Blind Merchants. He then became the executive director of the National Association of Blind Merchants and is a blind entrepreneur in Colorado. He's no longer the executive director. He's moved on to bigger and better things. He operates the dining facility at the Air Force Academy there in Colorado. And he's very active with the Colorado, the National Federation of the Blind of Colorado. He has done many of these, he's been national representative at many national conventions, dating back a number of years. So, he knows what he's doing. He and I have sort of agreed to a truce, haven't we, Kevin? That we're not going to say anything bad about the other. So.
Whoa! When did this come down?
Oh, did you not get the text?
Well, Terry, thank you very much. Now we had a little rehearsal earlier, folks, and I'm going to see if Terry learned anything from our rehearsal. Oh, Terry, I owe you a drink.
You owe me a drink.
I owe you a drink, and of course, I let you off the hook on the earlier one.
Yeah, well, we're even.
Yeah, we're even. We're even. No, we'll never be even. Terry Smith, y'all, and I'm not going to go on a long time because I know I am the person that stands between you and your second high ball or your end of your ball game or what have you. So I'm gonna run through a few things, but I have known Terry for many, many years, and it's just an honor to see the work that he's done. And I was saying, by the way, what we were doing there was our membership coin challenge. Some of us get these membership coins when you join the chapter, and your chapter should be filling in the applications and sending them into your state affiliate and or national office, however your bureaucracy works there. All organizations have a bureaucracy. And you get a membership coin, and you'll get some other goodie bag stuff. So if you have questions about that, just email membership@nfb.org. And membership is such a huge part of what we do. But some of us have this little challenge going, like they do in the military. They give you these unit coins. And so the challenge is, if I walk up to, say, Jessica Beecham and do this, and she doesn't have her coin, she owes me a beverage of some sort. But if she does, then I owe her. So, speaking of Jessica, Jessica Beecham is in the house.
Hey, Jessica.
I always like to get to say hi to my Tennessee friends during convention, and this has been a great convention. So congratulations, Terry and the crew, on putting on a phenomenal party as usual.
Woohoo! So there's Jessica. Okay, Jess, you can leave now. Yeah. No, you've been here though. She's been here the whole time. I love doing a convention from my office. I think, it doesn't bother me at all to do that. I've got all my sound effects. I got all kinds of stuff up here that, to keep me occupied. I'll tell you, I usually, even when I do a banquet address at a convention and not a combined national report and banquet address, I have the record for the shortest national representative speech on record. Nobody has a shorter speech than I do. And I'm going to tell you about what happened. And I think it's a good story for Tennessee, given your involvement with football and the fact that y'all love football. Another state that loves football is Nebraska. The difference between Nebraska and Tennessee, many differences, but one is that's all they have. No offense, Nebraska, but I mean, you don't have a pro team. What are you going to do on a Saturday night in Nebraska in the fall? There's nothing to do. It's cold. It's windy. You're out on the windswept plains. So what are you going to do? Well, you listen to football. And they're crazy about the Cornhuskers. I mean, absolutely roll tightish, if you will, about the Cornhuskers. And so I was the national representative in Lincoln, Nebraska. Now, Nebraska has like huge iconic Federation characters, people who have been around building the organization for years. Barbara Lose, for example, just an amazing executive director, chairman of the board of the American Action Fund, for example, and just some wonderful people from the Nebraska Commission for the Blind. And so I'm introduced and I'm doing my banquet address. Well, as I say, there's not a lot to do in October, but listen to Cornhusker football. So I'm talking about the great National Federation of the Blind. I'm giving some of my story. And I'm talking about some of the work we're doing, the legal cases we're winning, the reason that the Federation can be so important in people's lives. But I kept hearing around the room, on the 20 line, the 25, the 30, these little transistor radios. I didn't even know people had transistor radios anymore, but there were transistor radios and iPhones, and you could hear them all over the room. And I thought, well, that doesn't matter. President Riccobono said I'm the national rep. I'm going to plow forward. Doggone, I'm going to cover PAC. I'm going to cover legislation. I'm going to pull out one of my tearjerker stories about a blind kid, refused opportunity, and we're going to. And then I realized most of the radios were coming from the head table. It was Barbara. They were all of them listening to the game. They weren't listening to me at all. And so after about 6 minutes into this, I said, good luck, Cornhuskers. Have a nice convention. I turned around and sat down. I did about a 6-minute banquet address. So just to tell you that I can be short when I need to, I do want to bring you greetings. I know I hear you all are cracking up by this. I can hear you guys are all, this is hilarious stuff. The laugh track is going. I do want to bring you greetings from President Riccobono. Even in the times of virtual, he has so many other obligations around the country. I think he's going to be at a couple of state conventions, and I know there was some other workshop he was engaged in. So he said, please give greetings to Terry Smith and to all of our brothers and sisters in the great state of Tennessee. He wants to hear from you. And when I say that, I truly mean it. If you have a challenge, you have an idea to share, particularly if it's innovative. President Riccobono, and if you listen to his banquet addresses over the past few years, and I would commend that. I would say, what are we doing about inclusion and diversity? And what are we doing about innovation and new technology? Go to nfb.org and listen to some of those banquet addresses, particularly 2018 and 2019. Amazing orations of the people and the principles and the possibilities we find in our National Federation of the Blind. And so he is a pretty spectacular person. I had a wonderful relationship for probably 38 years with his predecessor, who I consider to be the third great president of the National Federation of the Blind, Dr. Mark Maurer. And Mark Maurer was a mentor of mine, a friend of mine. Oh my goodness, he would put me on the spot like nobody's business. And he would send me places. Once he called me at 1 a.m. and said, "Kevin, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm sleeping." "Well, that's good." He said, "But could you get up? I need to have you in California by 1 o'clock the next day to help organize a protest." And I was about to tell him I have a contract negotiation at 10 o'clock the next morning, but I didn't tell him that because he was already off the phone. And so I thought, well, I guess I'm going to have to rearrange my morning. And it was that kind of challenge, I think, that the Federation offered me that sort of made me a better person and excited my sort of entrepreneurial spirit. And I grew in the National Federation of the Blind. And many of us have. Sharon Treadway was on the Merchants call earlier and representing that 20 years ago or so when she started in this movement, she couldn't chair a meeting. She wouldn't have had that confidence. There were a lot of things that she believed she could have, but there's a lot of things that this young blind woman thought she couldn't do. But being around Federationists and learning from Kim Williams and learning from James Brown and learning from Terry Smith and so many others in Tennessee, she chairs meetings all the time and does things she never thought she would do. And I think that's one of the values and beauties of the National Federation of the Blind is the encouragement, as well as the people who will catch you when you fall. I've written an article and presented it to the Braille Monitor. Whether or not Gary Wunder will put it in our flagship publication, I don't know. But I talk about my relationship with Mark Maurer, for example. And I talk about the times that I was so desperate and down and about blindness or business failures that there was more than once that I found myself actually crying in Dr. Maurer's office because I knew that he'd lift me back up. Now, he might lift me back up and kick my butt a little bit and then put me down, lift me up and kick my butt a little more. But that relationship, I know people will have that same kind of relationship with Mark Riccobono. So email him, Office of the President at nfb.org, and say, "Man, I heard Worley talking about you. He did not say nice things." Tell him that. But he has really become, I think, one of those great civil rights movement leaders. They don't just grow on trees. We're lucky in the National Federation of the Blind to be able to grow leaders. You have a couple of dozen leaders in that Zoom room right there in Tennessee, people who are just waiting to bust out. I talk a lot about building the National Federation of the Blind, and I like to talk about it in the way of building a movement that helps all of us, lifts all of us up. You know, some people don't want to be active and run around the country in national rep. Some people don't want to be active and handle all the challenges of Randolph Shepherd and be willing to travel to do like Terry does. Everybody has a different place that the National Federation of the Blind can fit into their lives. Some people like to go to chapter meetings and just do the 50-50 drawing, show up, put some Braille and print on some little tags, and have everybody buy a ticket for $1 and you get 15 or 20 bucks and you draw. That's what that person's place in the Federation is. That's what they want to do. But at the same time, they grow and they learn. We learn from one another. So the Federation, it's not just about building the organization just to build it, you know, but we build it because we know that we can encourage one another. We can advocate for one another. We can take the legal actions necessary to change the world for all blind people. And that's what we do in the National Federation of the Blind. It's not just about organizing chapters to organize chapters and to have a weenie roast and a pretzel sale and a 50-50 drawing, although those things are very important. It takes the whole local scene, the state affiliate, all the national office staff, and all the divisions work that we do across the country. I do want to touch on a couple of things that I think folks might want to jump on right away. There's this matching grant from the Prospero company. They're the folks that do all kinds of technologies for blind folks. And they've put up a matching grant. If we can raise $50,000 between now and the end of Meet the Blind Month, Meet the Blind Month is now, as you all probably know. If we raise 50 grand, they're going to match it. And that's pretty incredible. So, I mean, that's the kind of thing we can do right now. You can call the National Center and follow the prompts, and we will help you make that contribution. Or you can just send a check. We're always happy to get checks at the National Center. I almost gave the old national address. So that's something we can do right now is write a check, or 200 East Wells Street, by the way. It took me a while. I'm going to get fired from this national rep business. I'm getting to starting to say things I said 30 years ago. So 200 East Wells Street at Jernigan Place, and it's 21230 is the zip code. So that's pretty huge. That's something, you know, everybody can probably, even in pandemic, maybe, I know many people are hurting, but it may be that folks have 10 or 20 or 50 bucks they can throw into the kitty. Let's talk a little about National Convention. National Convention, we're going to do one. We're going to have one ostensibly July 6th through the 12th, I guess. And but please pay attention to the Braille Monitor, pay attention to all the various listservs and your state president and everyone, because who knows what's going to happen. We thought we were having a convention in person in 2022, didn't we? And we didn't, but we had a wonderful convention, as Terry said anyway. So whether or not we can have it in person again, we all sure hope so. But I'll tell you one thing about 2021, at least we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that we can put on a good show for our members and have an interactive convention, even if we have to do virtual again, like we're going to do Washington Seminar. And I won't spend much time on that because Terry talked about that in his virtual report, but we are going to have Washington Seminar, virtual Washington Seminar. And I think it's going to be effective. We're going to do briefings, and we're going to set up the meetings, as Terry said, with staffers and maybe some members. And so I think it's going to be an exciting seminar. It'll just be different. You know, Terry will not be able to buy me that beverage. And there will be people that we won't get to see like we're used to, but be involved in the Washington Seminar. You know, you might be involved in the Washington Seminar and you'll learn so much or participate so much or feel so much joy at your involvement that you'll say, you know what, this is pretty cool. I think next year I'll go in person. I'll take myself over there. I do want to remind folks that President Riccobono is doing the presidential releases live November 1st and December 1st. And you can even email questions in advance. Reach out to Chris Danielson at nfb.org. It's C. Danielson at nfb.org. Or you can call him up and say, I got a question I'd like for that president fellow to answer. And but it's kind of fun hearing the releases live, not recorded in advance. And the other advantage of it too is that I often will tell our Colorado Springs chapter, well, how many of us heard it earlier this week? And you get about 80% go, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, the rest of you can listen to it on the recording and we'll skip it for the chapter meeting this time. So, so I do want to, oh, by the way, did I mention on National Convention where we were going? New Orleans. I don't think I even said where we're going if we get to go. I think we will. I hope we will. So it'll be in New Orleans, which is, you know, not far for y'all, I guess. Let's see, a few things I do want to make sure I mention, even though I know we're a little shorter on time, and I promised I'd be short. Don't forget the most robust, speaking of New Orleans and our national convention, one of the things we do, whether they're in person or virtually, is give away 30-some scholarships, big time scholarships. It's one of the most vibrant programs that we have to help blind people, blind students, empower blind students, give them some of the financial wherewithal and some of the technology, and introduce them to our organization. So if you have students in Tennessee, if you are a student in Tennessee, get that starting November 1. It'll be up on the website. You'll be able to get all the letters in and apply and maybe get yourself 3 or 4 grand or 10, 12 grand. I know we've got some scholarship winners on this call. Jessica over here was a scholarship winner, and I know there are others in this audience. But anyway, get your scholarship in. You deserve it. You're a student. You're a blind person. That's why we raise the money. That's why Prospero gives us some money. That's why others, and in fact, us, all of us who are giving on our various programs, our PAC contributions, et cetera. So take advantage of it. You deserve it. And please apply and get other students to apply. That helps build the organization. Now, my good friend, Scott Labar, I first met him in 1986, and he had just started college. And he didn't really care about coming to that national convention back in 86, but he wanted that $4,500 or whatever it was. So he came, and he's never left. He didn't know anything about the NFB. He won his scholarship. Another organization of blind people, often sometimes referred to as a consumer group, they gave him a scholarship that same year, but they didn't mandate that he had to go to the convention. So he took their money as well, as I recall. And good on him. Apply for everything, y'all. You gotta get an education. Also wanted to mention, in terms of building the Federation, our open houses. Send an email to membership@nfb.org if you know of new members, or if you know of blind people who are like, well, I wouldn't mind getting involved in that outfit, but what do they do really? What does it mean to me? And by the way, I've heard some yucky stuff about that org. I want to ask them some tough questions. If you know people like that, set them up with President Riccobono's open houses. He does one every quarter. And so you can reach out, and it's just some intimate conversation with the president to talk about some of the stereotypes or myths and misconceptions that some people might have about us in the National Federation of the Blind. I do want to look through my notes and see what it is I wanted to make sure I talk to you about. The Jernigan Fund scholarships, that's another one that you should apply for if you've never been to a national convention, because you get, a pretty good chunk of money. We help 75 to 100 people every year go to national conventions because they're not cheap. And we know affiliates help, and chapters help, and parents help, and you steal a few extra quarters from your vending machine, which I would never do, but I've heard it done. And so there's some extra dollars that you can get if you've never been to a convention before. So please do that. We have so much legislation we're working on right now, but I'm not going to go through it all. Number one, y'all are probably fixing to, again, have that second cocktail or third iced tea or whatever, and call it a night. I would just recommend everyone. When's the last time you went to nfb.org? Just go to the website and delve into it. Just go deep into it. Read a speech. Gosh, I didn't know we did that technology legislation. Wait, we were the ones that brought the Social Security benefits so that they favored blind people. I didn't know we did that. Oh, wow. There's the Bell programs that we do. Can we expand ours in Tennessee? That's interesting about the Bell programs, to really insist that parents and teachers and kids can work to ensure that Braille literacy for learning is available to our kiddos. If you get on that website and just play, you can go back. I listened the other day to a 2002 banquet address by Dr. Maurer. I think it was called The Matrix of Power. And it's one that I'd forgotten about. And it's a brilliant dissertation about the stereotypes that people have about blindness, how we overcome them, how we work collaboratively as a family, as a community, to overcome obstacles, and how do we do it in an organized way. And you can go back and listen, for example, to the speech in 2000 where he thought, gosh, what if blind people could drive a car? And I think by the end of this decade, he said, I felt like he was John Kennedy up there, that we could build a car a blind person could drive. And people thought he was nuts. Well, now, of course, we know that there's going to be vehicles that will drive themselves, and autonomous vehicles. And John Perret is working on that to make sure blind people won't be left out, that they won't say, well, there's a flat screen, so you can't set the coordinates. We're working on that. But in that 2000 speech, Dr. Meyer talked about how we might be able to do this. And we did. We worked with some university programs. We worked with our NFB Jernigan Institute technology folks. And by 2011, we had a car that a number of us got to drive. and that Mark Riccobono drove. Some of you might have even been at Daytona, and he drove it on the Daytona Speedway track. Now, it was a prototype. It was a way of saying blind folks can do things through interface technologies that non-blind folks don't believe we can do. And many of us doubt ourselves. But when we work collaborative, when we work as a family, we can overcome almost anything. And that was a great day. I mean, I was there. I was fortunate enough to actually be 3 levels up in the announcer's booth, sitting there doing kind of color commentary, which was kind of an honor for me as an old radio guy, to be up there with the 2 Daytona Speedway regular announcers. And then they would say, well, Kevin, what's he feeling now? What's he thinking now as he prepares to drive the first blind man? And so it was a very unique and a fun experience for me. The National Federation of the Blind brings unique experience to so many of us. It really does. And I commend the building of the Federation to you. I would say, don't forget about the Braille Monitor. That is the flagship publication of the organization. I know that nowadays we're all tweeters and Facebookers and Instagrammers and emailers and texters, but there's still a need for a lot of us to read long form information. The real living historical record of the National Federation of the Blind is captured in the Braille Monitor. And so, write for the Braille Monitor. Gary Wunder's always looking for articles for the Braille Monitor. And read it. You can get it on Newsline, by the way. I know it's on NFB Newsline, and you guys have that there in Missouri. In Missouri, Tennessee. Which state am I in, Terry? Little jet lag from my bedroom to my office. There's so much that we're doing project-wise, and I'm not going to go through it. I would say that the parental rights, I'm not going to go through it all. I'm going to do a few more things. I would say that the parental rights legislation that a number of states have passed has been very instrumental in protecting the rights of blind parents. There are a number of states who have passed very strong parental right legislation. And if you're looking for legislative initiatives, and I don't see Tennessee on the list, that doesn't mean that they do have it. They have a strong parents' right. Okay, good. Never mind. We'll work with another affiliate to get that passed. I didn't see Tennessee on the list. How about Braille Readers Are Leaders? The American Action Fund and the National Federation of the Blind is reinitiating our historically very successful Braille Readers Are Leaders program, starting November 1 until January 8. There's going to be adult and youth categories. So when you talk about building the Federation, last year in our affiliate, one of the things our project literacy team did was spend a lot of time reaching out to parents and educators and say, here, not only there's the Braille Challenge out at the Braille Institute, which is a great program, but the Braille Readers Are Leaders program is just another one to spark interest in reading, counting those pages, man, and you can win prizes. So get the kiddos and now adults who want to do the Braille Readers Are Leaders program. That's one thing I didn't want to tell. I wanted to remember to tell you about the Jacob Balatin Award. That's something that maybe somebody in Tennessee is running a good program that really helps blind people. Could be our guys running a program of some kind, doing something interesting, innovative. The Jacob Balatin Award, of course, named for the blind doctor. An amazing story about the blind doctor in the 1800s. He was bebopping around Illinois, tending to people as a blind man, and that's pretty innovative. So we named this scholarship or this award, and it recognizes cutting edge innovative programs for the blind, and you can win $5,000, $10,000, $25,000. The deadline to submit is April 15th. So if you've got a program that or a person who's doing some amazing things, do not forget about the Balatin Award. All of this stuff, again, I talk about going to the website. Everything that I've talked to you and so much more is at nfb.org. Don't forget about our vote survey. I'm told, I don't know if this is true. I'm told we're in the middle of this big national election and there's all this hubba bubba debating and social media and ran. I don't like this and I don't like that. But so I'm told this is going on. I don't know all the deets, but I do know that the National Federation of the Blind cares about our people being able to vote secretly and accessibly. Many states have now developed programs. In Colorado, we now have a program. In fact, Jessica and I and a bunch of us just voted accessibly using a mail ballot system. And it's a little complicated right now, but it works, where you get your ballot and you have to use your printer if you have a printer at home or the office. But we're going to make it even better. If you have good or bad experiences in the polls or your various voting scenario, let us know. We have a voter survey that's up at nfb.org. And I urge you, if you've had trouble voting, if the voting system went really smooth for you, go to nfb.org and fill out the survey. It helps us as we do our advocacy work. Let's see. I do want to talk about the fact that the NFB, I'm really proud of the work that we did in connecting and protecting blind citizens all over the state through the pandemic. We had a number of special programs. Affiliates did training, Zoom calls. We launched a number of advocacy initiatives for people who were having trouble getting to the testing sites. A number of wonderful grassroots things that came from chapters and affiliates. Some of it came from our national office, but much of the work we did and are doing is grassroots. An affiliate said, hey, why don't we do a regular class on technology? Cool, let's Zoom it up. And some people said, well, some people are having trouble getting food in some states. Okay, can we get together a grassroots group of federationists who will go get some volunteers who will be willing to go and get food for blind folks who are shut in, other people with disabilities who just couldn't have it any other way. That's what our family does for one another. I want to talk just a little about the code of conduct. You guys know that we have a code of conduct in the NFB. We're serious about the conduct of our members toward our fellow members, and we're serious about inclusion and diversity. We want people to be, if you're blind, if you're low vision, you're visually impaired, whatever label, you're legally blind folk or the family of, we want you to be comfortable and warmly welcomed and find a home in the National Federation of the Blind. And so we have an inclusion committee. It's Inclusion and Diversity. Sean Calloway, president of our DC affiliate, is just a wonderful man, along with Rosie Carranza. They're the co-chairs of our Inclusion and Diversity Committee. And I commend you to reach out to those folks, because as we build the Federation, we want to make sure we leave no group of citizens who may be blind aside. We don't want to leave them out. Don't care what their physical and other characteristics are. I'm going to cut it fairly short, Terry, because I want to see if anybody has any questions. Again, rather than going through, oh, wait, let me just see. Where are you guys on the PAC program? Let's check that out. Yeah. You guys are 29th on the PAC program. 11 people are giving. That's pretty cool, but wow, but you guys are doing like over 5,000. So you guys, your average contribution is pretty high, because you guys are 29th and you're giving over 5,000 a year. There's another chapter project. Most chapters have a treasury, or affiliates have a treasury, where they could up their PAC a little bit. $15 or $20 from every chapter wouldn't hurt. During time of pandemic, times are hard. It may be harder for you to start a PAC contribution at $5 or $10, but maybe you can. Maybe you're one of the 11 and you go, man, you know what? I'm doing better than many of my peers, and the Federation work's important, so I'm going to add an extra 10 to my PAC contribution. And I know you guys will talk about this. I'll be here tomorrow and we'll talk about it a little bit, but think about how we can support our pre-authorized cash giving program, our PAC program, which I think I've been on since 1982. Back when I first joined, you could join for $2.50 a month. Now you got to at least put $5 into it. So those are some things that occurred to me as I just ramble through this sort of address to you, where I'm kind of blending some of my stories and some of the things we're doing at the national level. Let's see, Terry, if we have any comments or questions.
Thank you, Kevin. Does anybody have a question for Kevin? Comment? You do *6 to unmute if you're on the phone.
And if we don't, let me just say, I wish I could have been there in person with you. Let me also say, and I said this to Terry yesterday, he didn't like to hear it, but I told him anyway. You know, Tennessee has some pretty famous blind people. You all really do. You've had some blind musicians, you've had blind people, but you've had 3 amazing civil rights leaders when you think about it. The counselor that really developed the Randolph Shepherd program, the model guy, Leonard Robinson, I think. I mean, his name is synonymous for the first couple of generations of the Randolph Shepherd program. And he imprinted this entrepreneurial spirit on the blindness community. Then you had Kenneth Jernigan that came through Tennessee. It's been a good time there at the school. And you all know, if you don't know, I urge you to read about his life story. And then Terry doesn't like to hear this, but the other guy that comes to mind is Terry Smith. No one in Tennessee blindness circles or affairs of blind people has been more engaged and involved. You think about it, almost 40 years, 30 years in rehabilitation and the Tennessee Business Enterprises, and then tack on another decade where he has saved Randolph Shepherd, or certainly improved it in so many areas, and now the president of the National Federation of the Blind of Tennessee. I could make a strong case that Terry Smith has done as much or as anyone in this nation in terms of protecting and connecting blind people, and his work in the National Federation of the Blind is amazing, bar none. So thank you, Terry. We appreciate you.
You give me way too much credit, Kevin. I appreciate it. You know, you're welcome to come back anytime, especially if you bring Jessica with you. Okay.
There you go. There you go. We'd be happy to do it.
We love Jessica. And but in all seriousness, thank you for being here on behalf of President Riccobono. I will give him a glowing report. Hope you have good things to say about Tennessee.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Okay, we're about to wrap up, unless you want to win a door prize. So I hope you're still there. We're going to try to give away that $25 Visa card donated by Thorset Vending, if Melissa has a name.
Asha Dandridge.
Dandridge. We have Dandridge on the line. Hit *6 to unmute. Okay, don't hear him. Let's go, Melissa.
Next, Beverly Parker. Beverly Parker.
Beverly Parker.
Number 22, Dakota Jones, tackled around the
Beverly Parker.
line. There is a flag on the field.
I think. Give me another name.
Another name. Belinda Collins.
What's the name?
Belinda Collins.
What was the name before that?
Beverly Parker.
Oh, that's me.
Oh, we got you. We got Beverly Parker.
Beverly, where are you from? I'll find you on the registration. Don't worry about it.
It's from Nashville.
Nashville. Okay.
Nashville, okay.
Okay, good job. I'll have to get you.
It will be second down.
Congratulations, Beverly.
Okay, try one more.
One more.
Another $25 Amazon gift card donated.
Craig McFarland. Craig McFarland.
Here, he's up here.
I'm here.
Yeah, good job. Okay, guys. The first session of the 2020 National Federation of the Blind Tennessee Convention stands adjourned. We will see you at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we will be starting right on time. So thank you. And thank you, a special thank you to Jimmy for hosting and handling the Zoom for us. And we will see everybody in the morning.